Now, Jesus spoke these words in a parable. A parable is a word picture meant to illustrate a certain truth. Now, a parable has within it a flaw. Not that I'm saying that Jesus' teaching has a flaw. I'm not saying that at all. But the parable method or the parabolic method is really a method that is constrained by the language. We see the story here that a farmer plants a vineyard. Well, who is the farmer? Go ahead and say it. God. That's right. God is the farmer. But then what happens? The farmer leaves and goes away. Has God ever left you or forsaken you? No. Has it seemed like though sometimes? Honestly? Yeah, it has. But God never leaves us or forsakes us. And so there is some limits to what we can glean out of this parable. But I do want to just take a look at three areas of truth that this parable speaks to. Now, the first area of truth is the area of truth of God. We see God is spoken about in this parable. Now, God is infinite. He is not able to be described fully in the way that we could understand it, but he is described here in this parable in a way. And so we see this truth about God. And here's what we see about God. First, God trusts us to do his work. He's the one who owns the vineyard. He's the one who made the vineyard. But he's also the one who trusts his tenants. Who are the tenants? Well, in the original parable, it was the Pharisees and the religious elite. And today, as we look at this, who's the religious elite of the day? Well, it's us. I mean, let's just understand that we are the ones who are religious. We are carrying the gospel. We are the tenders of the vineyard. And so, as we go about spreading the gospel, he trusts us to do his work. It should never be said when you come into church that you're coming out of obligation, or you're coming just simply because you want to come, or coming because you want to get something out of the experience. All of those may play a part in the reason you come to church, but you come because you are trusted by God to do his work. You're invited by him to do the work of worship, to worship him. You're invited by him to follow his son closely so that everyone will have a chance in this world to come to Jesus Christ. He trusts us. He trusts us. Probably there's no greater sin in the church than the sin of non-evangelism. The sin of taking his trust in his vineyard and squandering what he has given us so that we can build for ourselves our own vineyard or our own kingdom. But he trusts us to do his work. God is patient. He is patient and long-suffering. Notice what the scripture says. He sends servant after servant after servant. Some of them are beaten. Some of them are stoned. Not in the modern context. I mean, they actually pick up stones and throw stones at them. Got to be careful. Some of them are killed. You see, Jesus is saying that the farmer, the God character, is patient in what he's doing. He keeps giving opportunity for the religious elite or the vineyard owners to give the fruits of the vineyard to him. He's patient with us. He's accommodating to us. He was accommodating to the religious elite of his day. He's accommodating to us, giving us chance after chance after chance to do his work, to own up to our responsibility. It's very interesting. I don't know that I'd be that patient. Would you be that patient? Look at your life. How patient has God been in your life as he has drawn you to him? How much time has he spent? How much effort has he spent to draw you to him? He's patient. And I tell you what, he is not only patient, but he's accommodating. He gives us everything we need to fulfill what we are called to fulfill. For the tenants, he had made a wine press. He had made a wall. He had made a watchtower. He had made the vineyard good. He had given them everything they needed to fulfill their obligations, to fulfill their duties. And he was patient in having them do that. But there comes a time when God goes from the patient God that we like to understand him as to the righteous judge. What will the owner of the land do when he comes back if he finds the tenants not doing what they're supposed to be doing? Well, the scripture says he will put those wretches to a wretched end. He will clear house. He will give the kingdom to those who are producing the fruit. May I say something to the Church of God? The Church of God movement, headquartered in Anderson, Indiana. There was a time in our movement's history where nothing would stop our gospel from going out. Nothing could stop the gospel. We did things that were so inventive. We floated down a river in a riverboat, went from port to port, giving the gospel truth. You ever wonder why the hymns of the Church of God all sound like they're written on horseback? Because they were written on horseback as the gospel's going out into a lost and a dying world. There were plans for a boxcar at one time to go and spread the gospel through publication, through dedication, through sacrifice. People in the Church of God took the gospel out. It was always an evangelistic church. When was the last time you talked to your neighbors here? Okay, that's not fair. Most of you don't live in this neighborhood. When was the last time you made the 15 steps across your yard to their yard in your neighborhood to make sure they're going to heaven? Let me speak to the Church of God for a second here. There is a time when God's patience runs out, and he will give his kingdom, his gospel truth, to a people who will fulfill it. Now, I'm not scorning you. I'm standing as guilty as anyone. I spend more time in my office than I ought to. I should be out on the streets evangelizing too. But I do want you to know that there is a patience that God has. He's given us the gospel truth, this non-denominational gospel truth, this truth of holiness, this truth of salvation. We better not squander it, because we want our relationship with God to be one of a God of patience and a God of accommodation and a God of love, not a God whose love has turned into righteous judgment against us. God's sternest judgment is when he takes the task which he has meant for us to do out of our hands and gives it to another. You see the dire consequences here. We reach our lowest level when we have become useless to God. Now, Brother Timothy, how can you even say something like that? We sang praises to the Lord today. We worshiped him. We're really in the Spirit today. And now you're giving me this hard truth. I know. I know. I'm giving me the hard truth too, though. We are given a purpose in this life. You know, look around this building, this excellent facility that some of you with your hands have helped build. God has brought it about, though. And look where it's situated. In a neighborhood that needs Jesus Christ. What a great opportunity you have. What a great opportunity and mission we have to reach out. But we reach our lowest level when God gives our task to another. So let us not be that church. Let us not be that person.